Hi, it's Laura at Aquamarine18. Thanks for stopping by my channel today. I am here with a first impressions video of a new deck that I got called the Uncertain Oracle, which is by Cedar McCloud. Cedar McCloud you may know as the creator of the Numinous Tarot, one of my favorite tarot decks, and the Threadbound Oracle more recently, which I also have. I didn't do a review of it yet because I wanted to read their novel that goes with the Threadbound Oracle first. So I will have a video about the Threadbound Oracle once I've worked with it a little bit. The novel was wonderful. So this is a different deck, actually, a new deck that is available on Cedar's shop. I'll link below. I've already taken it out of the box. I had started to film an unboxing, and then I realized as I did so, opening this box, which it came in, that I had done so in a way that made my address quite prominent on the video. So I deleted that one. So now I have the deck here wrapped in paper, which will make the unboxing process faster anyway. I'm excited to have the Uncertain Oracle. It just launched at the start of this month, and it's a 52 card deck, a round oracle deck, reading from their website, which was born from Cedar's participation in the 100-Day Project 2020. Its imagery was chosen by Cedar and patrons on Patreon from the 100 abstract watercolor paintings that Cedar did during that project. It's printed on smooth, flexible linen cardstock in the shape of 3.5-inch circles. And this deck was available. You could either order it with a signed and numbered wooden box that's hand painted, or you could order it in a pouch. And I went with the pouch because I would probably have made a pouch for it anyway. And then I also got some little treats, so I thought I would share those with you. Lots of paper. So the first thing is the invoice has a nice thank you on it, so that's good. We have a Numinous Spirit Press business card with one of the images associated with the Threadbound Oracle, a character from The Thread That Binds, Cedar's novel. And similarly, a little bit creased, bookmark. I'm excited to make my video about the Threadbound Oracle, actually, because the Oracle, having read the novel, now the Oracle is just so special, so I'm excited. A sticker with the rainbow over the book. I think that this is an extra treat that I didn't actually order the sticker. And I had a problem with soggy mail recently, so I had put in my extra comments in my order, if you could please put it in something plastic so that I don't end up with wet mail. And they did, and that's lovely. Trying to be gentle with the tape because I will reuse the Ziploc bag for something else. Okay. Yay. Okay, so maybe the goodies first. The first goodie I got was one that I saw on the Threadbound Oracle Kickstarter and didn't get, and then regretted getting, which was the pin with the rainbow book on it. So it's a pin with two pins on the back, which is great because it will stay. I'm really interested in tarot and oracle related pins and patches right now. I will share this in its own video, but I'm making a tarot and oracle themed garment. So I'm getting lots of buttons, or I'm looking for lots of buttons. I actually don't have a lot of buttons, but in future orders, when there's a button extra, I'm really into buttons right now. I also got, and this is a test item actually, and it's okay, this is amazing. This is way nicer than I even thought it would be. There are some Numinous Tarot pouches for the deck on the website, and as a kind of test item to see, if it would be something they would carry again. Cedar had, I think there's only a few, 10 of these big pouches that have the Numinous Tarot back design on one side and the Numinous Tarot Lovers on the other. And so there's lots of these pouches that are smaller that hold the deck, but this one is to hold the Numinous Tarot guidebook as well as the cards. And so this is perfect because I already made a tiny bag for my Numinous Tarot cards out of some stretchy rainbow swimsuit fabric. And so now this, I can put that inside and the book. I don't know what's up with this little tag here, but it's a zipper pouch which comes with washing instructions, and it's kind of denim on the inside. So I'm really excited for this because I chose it because I don't use a lot of tarot guidebooks, but the Numinous Tarot is one of my favorite guidebooks that I have. So I would actually like to be able to kind of tote it around more easily. So it's for my Numinous Tarot extra treats. And the main item is the deck, the Uncertain Oracle. This is the pouch that it came in. It has this print of Numinous Spirit Press on it, which is great. Again, the painted boxes were very tempting. I will say they're beautiful. Maybe there's some left. Again, I'll link to the shop. But this is just more, this is more utility for me than the box would be. So this is what I went with. The cards are shrink wrapped. I should have gotten some scissors. I will very carefully break the shrink wrap with a pen. Inviting disaster. It's fine. Okay. Round oracle decks I feel like are few and far between. I have a few decks that are kind of not typical rectangle shape, but not too many in my collection. I have the Gorgon's Tarot, which is round, but nothing quite like this. This actually reminds me a little tiny bit of the hexagonal Journey Oracle by Kelly Fitzgerald, and that it's watercolor and it's a kind of symmetrical shape. So we have a title card, The Uncertain Oracle, Numinous Spirit Press, a deck for exploration in uncertain times, first edition copy. Feel free to use in your YouTube videos, Instagram, Twitter, and other social media posts with a link or tag to the website. So there's that title card. And this deck specifically does not come with a guidebook. The idea is that you form your own associations and your own meanings. There's no kind of guidance to it. The cardstock is, again, linen, so smooth. The cards slide incredibly. I really like linen cardstock so long as the cards are not flimsy feeling, and these really aren't. They're very sturdy. So the back of the card looks like this. In watercolor, and I really, really like that. I think that this will go really well with the Numinous Tarot, but I also feel like it's, it's abstract in such a way that I feel like it could go with a lot of other decks. So I will just show the cards in the order that they're stacked, which at first glance looks to be alphabetical. And again, there's 52 of them. Action. I really like the thin, plain black font a lot. Ancestor. I like that because this one reminds me of roots, so that can relate to ancestor. Belonging. This one with, I'm not sure if it'll come up, but this one has like the jewel tone greens and purples and blues in it, which are my absolute favorite colors. Belonging. Canyon. Okay. Some of these, I said I love the font, and I do because I like a plain font. Some of these are going to be hard to read at first glance. This one I don't think you'll be able to see, but it's Curiosity. There's lots to look at here, inviting curiosity. deeper. Okay, so some of the fonts are white. That's good. Very watery, deeper. Desert. Definitely a desert color palette. Difficulty. This one reminds me of a black hole, which if you're being sucked into a black hole, that would be a difficulty. Can you tell I like Star Trek? Discomfort. Earth. Now I'm not sure if there will be 4 other cards for the different elements. I specifically didn't look at every card. I just, first of all, it being a deck by Cedar McCloud, I knew that I would like it, and also, I liked the style and that, so I didn't look at everything. Embodied. Forgiveness. I feel like these are the kind of images that you could just kind of scry into. Like they're so abstract that I think that if you just kind of put one and looked at it for a time, that you could find all kinds of things in it. For sure. Fractured. Friend. I really like this. Very rainbow. Perfect for a friend. Frustration. This one actually reminds me of, is when I was in counseling, I got to draw my feelings with some markers on a big piece of paper. And I feel like my frustration drawing looked quite a lot like this. So it feels like, on the one hand, it's like it's so abstract, but it also feels like so apt to me, which is great. Grief. It's kind of all-consuming. I know I said black hole before, but I kind of see black hole here also, which is suited. Guidance. I'm not sure if you can see, there's kind of line drawings in between there, so it's like staying between the lines, or like following paths. Guidance. Home. The rainbow is home. And hope. That makes me very happy. Infuse. Integration. Integration is my word of the year this year, which I will have reflections on later. I like that. The other thing that actually is really interesting to me about this deck right now is that I'm working on exploring sigils and sigil crafting as something I haven't really done much of, but is really appealing to me for some reason right now. And so this kind of very abstract, I think, will be a good deck for me to work with, because in my initial sigil crafting exercises and practices with the book that I'm working with, it is hard for me to get away from, this is precisely what the author of the book I'm reading says, you need to do, get away from this kind of like literal, just trying to draw the thing, right? And finding ways to associate, more like shapes and more abstract imagery and symbols with potentially very complex concepts. So I really like, I think that this deck will be a good one to kind of push my thinking in that way, which, there's nothing really sigil-like about this deck at all. But in its abstraction, I think it will exercise that I don't want to say part of my brain because I don't think that that brain hemisphere is a thing really, but something like that. Laughter. This feels like a joyous card. Light. This feels like light streaming into a forest clearing on a snowy day. Listen. Interesting. Merge. This is like two cells merging, which I know there's a name for that process, but I'm in the humanities. I don't remember what that name is. We'll call it merge. Music. This is great because it's kind of like notes on a staff, but not in any way, like actually notes on a staff. But it definitely evokes that to me right away. Name. Making one's mark, the name. Also something that came up in my book about sigils. The idea of the initial as a sign of identity. Nightmare. Nostalgia. This nostalgia makes me think of finger painting, which could be quite nostalgic. Pathways. Reach. I like this one. Reflection. You get the kind of cloudiness of the reflection in the water. Release. This card feels watery to me in ways that I like. Rest. Sacred anger. I could get some anger from that card, but I enjoy the way that it shares a kind of palette with laughter. Second sight. Self-compassion. I really like that. Something that I look for in a deck like this is a selection of keywords that feel capacious enough to leave a lot of room for interpretation and leave a lot of room for kind of taking into account the context of the reading and things like that, but are not kind of so loose that they don't convey anything, if that makes sense. And I feel like this deck hits a good balance in that respect, for sure. And also in terms of a kind of balance, it's, it has some cards that deal with some difficult feelings and ideas, and then some that are less so. Self-love. I love that. I could also imagine this being a deck that you could pick one out, I'm always trying to work on self-love related things, but I can imagine just kind of putting this card out on my table and then doing a reading related to self-love kind of around it as a visual anchor or as a kind of invitation to manifest what I would be looking for. So I love that as well. Serendipity. That's an interesting one. Shifting. They are all legible. I will say they're like the text is probably not picking up that well on the camera. I would say that this is maybe a 14-point font, 14-point font, depending on your eyesight. It might be a little bit tricky, but for me, they're all legible. Shout. I like shout as a keyword a lot. It's a good one. Slow. Small magic. I love the idea of small magic. Everyday magic. And I think small magic is nice because it takes away that like high-low hierarchy kind of thinking. But so small magic is like potent, you know? Solar. Solstice. Again, I could totally imagine putting this, up, if I'm doing a reading for Solstice, just to have the visual reference there. Spirit. Spontaneity. I like that color palette for spontaneity. That's cool. Sweet. Very sweet colors. Treasure. This color palette makes me think that the treasure is buried, which is good. So you have to dig for it a little bit, Treasure. Trust. This makes me think of, like there's a lot of things going around on outside, but trusting that, foundation is holding amidst all of that. Variable. And the last one is Visitation. Very cool deck, very abstract, and one that I am looking forward to working with. So that is the Uncertain Oracle by Cedar McCloud of the Numinous Spirit Press. Here's all of the info on the deck, and I will put the info in below. Did you order this deck? Let me know in the comments below if you've received yours, if you're working with it, what you think. Thank you so much for watching, and I will look forward to seeing you in the next video. Have a good one.